Hello, gentlemen and ladies. I'm David Kruger, and this is Alpha Shift Radio. This is episode 11, our last episode for 2019. Don couldn't be here tonight, but he's going to be here for the first episode of 2020, where we will do our 2019 year in review, our 2010 to 2019 decade in review, and then we'll look forward to the future. Tonight, I have a special treat. I'm going to be answering your questions. I've got a list, I've got a group here of questions from podcast listeners as well as email subscribers who have hit reply and said, Dave, this is what I got going on. What do you think? So I'm going to go through these. We've got some common themes. I looked through them. There's some good ones. And we're going to talk a little bit about the most pressing issues facing men today. So, the first one I'm going to look at is from a reader. His name is Fiaz. And it's very interesting. Fiaz asks, can a guy be friends with a married woman? I recently became friends with this woman, but she's married, and now she's always on my mind. She's 35, real pretty, but she has 2 kids. I even sent her a Christmas gift. Not sure if that was a smart move. She seems sad, depressed, and stressed sometimes. I texted her 3 days ago and asking her to share her problems with me and didn't hear from her. She's usually good at replying to my texts. Don't know what happened all of a sudden. What should I do in this situation? Oh boy, Fiaz. Wow. First of all, I want to thank you for writing in. I'm glad you did. I'm glad we can talk about this. If we were talking in person, I might have a hard time refraining myself from slapping you for this one. So I'm going to take your questions. You have a paragraph here, and you have many questions. I'm going to take them question by question. Can a guy be friends with a married woman? Well, sure. I'm friends with lots of married women, but I'm not sending them gifts and trying to seduce them. I think your question is a guy be friends with benefits or friends pursuing a woman with a married woman? And I would say absolutely not. That's just stupid for a number of reasons. First of all, she's not available. She's not making herself available. And not to get dark side on you, but a woman who's looking to cheat will make that very, very clear. You won't be ambiguous or have to write into Dave at the Alpha Shift for that. So, no. I think with the intention... I think the way you're asking the question is, with the intention of being with her, seducing her. So no, absolutely not. Aside from the moral sketchiness of chasing after married women who don't want to be chased after, it's just stupid. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, which is going to become very apparent as we get down through to the rest of your letter. I recently became friends with this woman, but she's married and now she's always on my mind. You're just mentally diddling with yourself. Do yourself a favor and don't get yourself hung up on unavailable women. You have to, Fiaz, you have to look at yourself as a prize to be caught. You don't go getting yourself hung up on unavailable women. Oh, I can't get her off my mind. That's just your mental shit. You don't have enough going on in your life. You don't have enough purpose in your life that you need to go get hung up on some woman who's not hung up on you. Do you see what I'm saying here? Because as we get a little later on in this podcast and some of these other letters, I'm going to talk more and more about the importance of a man having purpose in his life. This is one of the key things that we're lacking today. Men lack purpose. And they look for that. They look for purpose and they look for meaning in their relationships with beautiful women. That's what the media has brought us to. That's what social conditioning has brought us to. And it's making us all pathetic. So, she's 35, real pretty, but has 2 kids. Irrelevant, I don't care. I even sent her a Christmas gift. Not sure if this was a smart move. No, it was not a smart move. It screams needy and pathetic, and it's probably the reason that she's now not returning your texts. She seems sad, depressed, and stressed sometimes. All women do at some point or another. I texted her 3 days ago asking her to share her problems with me and didn't hear from her. Never ask a woman to share her problems with you. Do you want to be her emotional tampon? I mean, you're trying to be a friend. You're not even doing a good job of seducing this woman sexually, if that's your intention. You're just going to make yourself her best girlfriend, and you wanted to cry in your lap about her problems with her husband or kids, whatever else. I mean, even if she did respond to you, she would make you an emotional tampon. She would not be interested in you in any way, and you would just be very frustrated. So you might want to be grateful that she's now ignoring and ghosting you. Don't know what happened all of a sudden. What should I do in this situation? Walk away. Don't ever text this girl again, and learn from it. You need to learn from the situation. You need to start realizing that you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to have any kind of a satisfactory relationship if you're not you're not the prize to some woman, if you're not valued by her. If you're constantly chasing women, trying to be their friends first, trying to do all of this stuff, you're always going to be chasing your tail. You're always going to be frustrated, and you're never going to get what you want. So you need a complete reset. Not to self-promote, Fiaz, but I don't see you on my customer list. I think you need the alpha shift. You need to begin with a basic education as to how attraction works between men and women and what you need to do to maximize your impact and maximize your self-esteem. I would also strongly suggest you consider doing some work on your mind. I'm going to leave a link in the show notes to some of the best mind training, law of attraction training I've ever had. It's called Your Wish is Your Command by a very, very prominent guy. And I'm also going to suggest that you listen to some Esther Hicks. You can go find it on YouTube. There's a lot of good stuff out there. You really need to start working on your mind. So I'm going to give you some stuff to get to work, buddy, and that's what you need to do. You don't need to chase after 35-year-old married women with 2 kids. That's a big fat no-no. Next question. Let's see what else we got here. I've got a few from a very loyal reader. We'll call him Doc. Doc's in his 60s. He's a chiropractor, natural health practitioner. He's been married a couple of times, and Doc's got a lot of questions about what is a guy to do when he's been through everything. So let's look at some of Doc's comments. Doc says, I was raised a doctor's son, was a medic in the Army, then in college to become a doctor like my dad. All I've run into was the hidden agenda that women have. They want status and money. I had both. Too bad those are the wrong things a good relationship needs. Even as a kid, being a doctor's son had lots of pull. I didn't know that at the time. Plus, I was athletic and could play any sport I wanted. Plus, as a teenager, I ran the local pizzeria where all the kids hung out after the ball games in small-town America. So I've been the alpha male my whole life. My mistake was I treated women good, thus my total failure with women. I didn't know. Most guys don't. We like seeing our mate happy and don't understand why they're miserable most of the time, so we continue our efforts to make them smile. A couple things going on there, Doc. Yes, we do like to make women happy. And yes, as men, despite perception that we're macho and stoic and jerks, men really are very loving. And they love their wife, they love their kids, assuming they're emotionally healthy and not screwed up. And sometimes we can be a little doting, a little loving, and we just want to make a woman happy, and we don't understand her mercurial moods. We don't understand why she reacts a certain way to certain things. So let me try to break this down as simply as I can. Millions of years ago, regardless of what you may believe, what religious faith you may have, let's just say that human beings have been around for a very long time. And there was a time when we lived in tribal communities and were essentially cavemen, and every day was a struggle for survival. We had to fight saber-toothed tigers and gazelles and all kinds of things, and had to hunt and forage and find food. And in this environment, a woman, her best chance of survival was to hook herself up with a strong male who could fight off other men, who could fight off predators, and who could go hunt and bring back important sustenance to feed the woman and her children. And so finding a strong man, was a matter of life and death. It would determine her survival or not. And those sort of things get embedded into DNA, those tendencies to respond to strength signals. And so today, we live in a very convenient world where we have roofs over our heads and running water, and when we get hungry, we can go to the grocery store. And so finding a strong man, the instinct still exists, but it manifests itself in different ways. And the majority of women don't really know this stuff. They couldn't explain this to you the way I'm explaining it to you right now. They just know that some things turn them on and some things turn them off. And that's why when a man has purpose and direction that his wife or his girlfriend can't sway him from, purpose and direction that if she got in the way, she knows she'd be out, that shows strength. That shows strength of will and strength of purpose. See, if a woman thinks that she can if your wife thinks that you're a pushover and that she can push you around, in her, reptilian hindbrain, she's going to be thinking, well, if I can push him around, anyone can push him around. And then she's not going to feel safe with you. And when she doesn't feel safe with you, she's going to get annoyed with you. And random fights might start that you can't even begin to explain why this is happening. I'm doing everything to make her happy. I'm accommodating. I wash the dishes. I rake the leaves like she asked. Why is she being bitchy? Why is she being snooty? Why does she shake me away when I walk up behind her and kiss her neck? How are you doing in life? How's your purpose doing? How's your money doing? How are all of those things? It's not all just about money. Look, money's important to be comfortable. Look, I've been flush, I've been thin. I'd rather have money than not. But the underlying thing there is, are you moving forward in life? And do you know what you want? Are you going for it? You need to be going for what you want in life. And then have her. You're like on the motorcycle and she's on the sidecar. And that's the way women like it, honestly. And I know this may sound a little unpopular, Doc, in this you go girl world where we're teaching women that they can do anything, and more women are graduating college now than men. And I mentioned on last week's podcast, I have a friend who has 2 sons, and that's all they hear about is this girl power in school, and it kind of has them a little bit concerned. He and his wife have sons. What about them? And that's kind of how far the pendulum has swung in the other direction, which is one of the reasons that our divorce rate is at 55%, and the alpha shift exists, and so many men are looking for answers. So I would say your mistake wasn't treating women well. Your mistake was maybe being a little overly accommodating, putting too much importance on treating her well, too much importance on her happiness. Your first importance has to be on your happiness and your purpose. And she can find her happiness by following along with you. And if not, she can go. Trust me, that'll make her happy. And if not, she needs to go. So, yeah. Your mistake was you made her too important. Always be respectful. And always reward good behavior. When she is supportive and loving to you, reciprocate in kind. And when a woman mistreats you, when she gets an attitude, when she does all of the things that a woman does, don't meet it in kind. Don't argue. Don't, yell at her. Don't talk her down. You withdraw the one thing that she needs, your attention. That's the only way that you rebuke a woman. You don't argue. You don't raise your voice. You don't yell and scream. Never do any of those things. That will only hurt you. It will never help. I didn't know most guys don't. We like seeing our mate happy and don't understand why they're miserable most of the time. Because you just don't understand. Women have their stuff going on. So we continue our efforts to make them smile. That can be a mistake. Well, that doesn't work, and pretty soon their guilt catches up to them for marrying us for the wrong reasons in the first place, so they leave. Okay, now you're onto something. And this is something I've been through. Women will indeed marry a man for the wrong reasons. They'll get together with a man for the wrong reasons, and they'll do it under false pretenses. Now, before everybody gets mad at me and, says, Dave, you're going after women, hold up. Let me explain what I mean. I can tell you in my personal life, my last major relationship, this poor girl, this young girl, twisted and contorted herself into something she was not, because that's what she felt she needed to do to get the guy that she wanted, me. And unfortunately, that just doesn't last. if you are trying to fulfill an ideal, if you are trying to bring yourself up to some level, to be worthy of someone, and this goes for men too, if it's not really authentic, if you're using force and will, which a lot of women do to grab the guy that they want, it can't last. A couple of years will go by, and it comes out. She starts showing her true colors. And the things about you that she kind of overlooked because she was just securing you and getting you will start to annoy her. I had a girlfriend tell me that she was so grateful that I put so much structure in her life. She was a bit unstructured, a bit sloppy, and a bit of a free spirit. And being with me kind of put some regimentation in her life. You know, I was a pretty organized guy and pretty structured. And I think that very same thing she appreciated so much in the first couple of years of that relationship, she grew to resent me for at the end. You really need to vet someone. You need to know what you're looking for, and you need to be with them for a while. I go back and forth about whether or not you should live with someone before marriage, but it is a good way to vet someone. And I've, by doing that, avoided what could be a worse situation. So, women will sometimes get into a relationship for the wrong reasons. Sometimes they'll marry a man they don't love just because he checks all the boxes. And they pay for that later on. So that's true. And they will do that. You know, women will do what women will do, Doc. It's up to us as men to know better, to vet, to see what's going on. Brian writes, when you're at a weak place in your life, struggling inside, in fact, you've really not gotten out of this weak place since you were a kid. You struggle. You push forward. You try therapy, different mindset programs. You become overwhelmed, even with all the options. You feel silence from God. You get into bad habits just to sustain. You begin to shut down a bit. Your marriage relationship has been up and down and up and down. This is supposed to be your best friend and life partner. This person should feel okay to be weak with, but time has shown you that never seems to pay off. You are not feeling left loved and accepted, and actually worse, because whether she literally passively puts you down or just you feel something, you are left feeling weaker and ashamed. I guess a simple way of putting it is I feel damned if I do and damned if I don't, sharing my pain with my wife. I'm never expecting her to solve the problem, just wish I felt I could turn to her, but she's never made me feel that way. And when I have felt, it actually just empowers her, gives her a sense of control to wield. Does this make any sense? Actually, it does make perfect sense, Brian, because you are a victim of society's brainwashing. The brainwashing goes something like this. Men and women are equal. They are equal partners. And you can share the load with your partner. They support you. You support them. And everything is great and wonderful and equal. Men and women are not equal. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I'm going to tell you this right to your face, and I will back this statement up with anyone. Now, men are not better than women or more entitled than women, nor women than men. But we are different. We are not the same. I think some people equate equality with sameness. I mean, I guess we're equal under the law. We're equal in deserving good treatment and opportunity, yes. But men and women are not the same and cannot be treated the same. And a man can't treat a woman the way a woman treats a man and vice versa. So, Brian, you've got two main things going on here. You've got emotional and self-esteem issues going on. That's your stuff that you have to work out yourself. And you've got some issues going on with your wife. Let me address your wife first, and we'll work back toward you. You cannot make your wife, and I if I'm triggering people with the term emotional tampon, sorry, it just works so well. You can't make your wife your emotional tampon. I was talking to Doc about the importance of strength and having purpose. A woman needs to see strength in her man. If she doubts your strength, she will test you. She needs to know in order for her to feel safe and relax and open up as a woman, she has to feel that she's with someone who is capable of taking care of her, of protecting her, and of weathering her and dealing with her shit. And so if you are coming to your wife and crying about the world is hard on me and I don't feel good and I just need someone to be my mommy, you are going to turn her off, you are going to make her fearful, and you are going to make her resent you. And then kind of like a child who knows that the parent won't discipline them, she will start running all over you and crapping all over the floor and, making a mess of the house. That was maybe a bad analogy. But that's exactly what's happening to you. She is seeing you as weak. She's treating you like you're weak because that's what she's perceiving. Your wife wants to see strength. She wants to feel your strength and feel your power. She wants a man that she can look up to. That's what all women want. Otherwise, why would she be with you? She doesn't want another child to raise. You see what I'm saying? She wants a man who is going to show her the way, the purpose in life. If a woman can't follow a man in his greater purpose, she will eventually leave him. This happens in all cases. I don't care what income level you're at. I don't care if you're Joe and Jane Blow from down the street or if you're Ted Turner and Jane Fonda getting a multi-million-dollar divorce, or Jeff Bezos, who the founder of Amazon, and his wife, the most expensive divorce in human history. So it's not just about money. If Jeff Bezos, with all his money, can't keep a wife, what chance does anyone have? That's not the thing. It's about capability and purpose, and her being inspired by who you are and where you are going. So, Brian, you might have a long way to go on that one, because we're going to address your second issue, which is it sounds to me like you have been facing some depression issues all of your life. And if that's the case, there's a couple things I'm going to recommend. And I go back and forth with some people. I am not a big fan of the medical profession, at least in Western medicine. But if you need therapy, get therapy. And let me look back. You've done mindset programs. Okay, you've done a lot of things. I'm going to recommend, first of all, that you start reprogramming your mind. You have to realize that you are 100% responsible for everything in your life. It may not be your fault. Maybe people done wrong by you when you were a kid and things happen to you. And that's fine. That wasn't your fault, but it is your responsibility because it's on your plate. And if it's ever going to be resolved, it's up to you. That's what I mean by taking 100% responsibility. I don't mean taking blame. I mean taking responsibility. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a resource page for men to really get their mindset to a positive place where they can create their entire life. You're going to listen to audios. You're going to listen to healing tones. You're going to do meditation. You're going to get to a place where you can feel good right now. I'm going to tell you, eventually in the Alpha Shift, we're going to get to some more advanced teachings, esoteric teachings about mindset and about manifestation. And I'm going to jump you right to the end. It really comes down to the ability to feel good and have positive expectation. You are creating your life moment by moment. People don't realize this. You are creating your life every day, every hour, moment by moment, with the vibration that you're putting out. And what so many of us do is we are responding to what has happened in the past, as though the past equals the future. And we're ruminating over it. We're ruminating over the situation that we have. My relationship sucks. I have no money in the bank. Holy crap. Negative feelings, negative feelings, negative feelings. That's the big mistake. If you can get yourself to a place of feeling good and positive expectation, you'll know the right things to do, you'll move forward, you'll feel good, and things will start to change. Therapy won't get you there. But therapy is if you're going down the toilet and you're about ready to do yourself in, by all means, go see a therapist, get some help, just to get yourself evened out. I'm not going to say don't ever go get psychological help. But know that you're ultimately going to have to take 100% control. And it's going to be a job. All right, probably the hardest thing you've ever done. And it takes time. to clear the clouds so the sun can shine through. That'll be your number one goal. An ancillary recommendation I would make, if you're not already working out and eating healthy, start doing that. It clears your head and it makes you feel good about yourself. Makes you feel more empowered and gives you confidence. So, Brian, I am going to make a resource page. Remind me and I will send it directly to you. I'm beginning to feel the need for that. I'm starting to see a trend with some of the people writing in, some of the men I've been talking to, that we really have a crisis of confidence and feeling good. I'm not real surprised based on some of the things I know, but I'm really seeing that this is something that needs to be addressed. Part of the reason that we have so much calamity in our relationships is because we're essentially looking for love in all the wrong places. We're looking for validation in all the wrong places. We're looking for things from women and from our intimate relationships that they can never provide. They can't give us purpose or make us feel valid. They can't do it. It's not their job. That's for us to do. That's why we have to have purpose and create a mission. Got a couple more comments from Doc. Doc is very verbose. So let's see let me look at this one real quick. Hey, David, thanks for the invite to comment. I don't know if you know this or not, but you've probably got the best alpha male site going right now. Thank you so much, Doc. I appreciate that. The main comment I want to make is your natural alpha male attributes can indeed be neutralized. The women are excellent at that. Here's how they do it. Guilt trip, shame, put you on the defensive. Results? The mystery continues. That's their whole point. That's the why they do what they do. Got to keep you on edge, on your toes. They never land anywhere, so you can confront them even with the little things. Okay, Doc, I'm going to stop you right there, buddy. Guilt trip, shame, put you on the defensive. Sounds like your woman just winning a match of chicken with you. Guilt trip, shame, put you on the defensive. This is how women test men. Men who are, through their good-naturedness, trying to make you happy. They're trying to make the woman happy. They're trying to appease. And they're being perceived as not strong. Something in the woman is saying that something's off with this guy. Something's not right. Something doesn't feel right. And so she's either consciously or subconsciously reacting. And many women do this subconsciously. You know, they're not like, oh, I'm going to test him and do this. They're feeling the way they're feeling, and they just react the way they react. And if you ask them about it, they'd be like, I don't know. But what's happening is you are not providing leadership, and you are not providing purpose. And, sometimes providing leadership and purpose is going to leave you with some cold moments. There's going to be times she's going to test you. You're going to pass the test, but she's going to be pissed off, and there's going to be some silent treatment. And when the silent treatment happens, let it go. Let it be silent. Let her come to you when she wants. That's why they do what they do, you said, Doc. Got to keep you on edge and on your toes. No, Doc, you need to keep her on her toes. That's the difference. Have you considered maybe you need to keep the woman on her toes? So many men are so eager to please and so quick to want to smooth things over that they end up giving away their power and making the woman feel unsafe, even unloved. I know it seems bizarre. And let me tell you, no one has failed more of these tests than I have. Okay, so I'm not getting holier than thou or talking down to anybody. I know this because I have failed this more than anyone. And failure is nothing to be ashamed of. Failure is life lessons that I now own and no one can ever take away. Failure is a lesson that you finally got. So you need to keep her on her toes. And what you never do, Doc, or anybody else, listen, I'm just picking on you, Doc, because you wrote in. You never yell. You never get argumentative. You never raise your voice. You never shake your fist, or all these things that a lot of guys who feel that they've lost control start to do. You lay down the law. This is how it is. This is what I expect. If she goes into tantrum, bitchy, pissy mode, you withdraw your attention. When you want to grow up and act like a big girl, we can talk. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to the bar. I'm going to meet the guys. And you walk the fuck out the door and don't worry about it. And if that means that she's going to leave, it means that she leaves. So be it. Can you do that with a straight face? Because that's what needs to happen. That's where you need to be in your mind and your heart. If you are going to be this guy that I'm talking about, who can create that leadership, who can create that drive and direction. This isn't easy. We're not taught to do this. Most of us don't have fathers in our lives. More than half of us. I'm telling you, those are just the statistics. My parents were divorced. My father was a great guy, but I just didn't see him that much. And so, I grew up very differently. And I have a hard time, have had in the past had a hard time laying down the law and being tough. The tendency I had was to want to smooth things over and make everything nice and harmonious. And that'll always be my tendency. That'll always be my preference. But now I know, in my intimate relationships, if I don't show up as the guy that she can respect and look up to, I'm ultimately going to lose her. Because I've now done it a few times. I've been that nice guy, and I've ended up hurt. And she ends up no better for it. That's not easy on the women either. These breakups are hard on them too. So what we're doing, by making better humans out of ourselves, by being better men, we're serving everyone. We're serving ourselves first and foremost, which we need to serve ourselves first and foremost. We're serving her, and we're serving our children. Yeah, the alpha shift is kind of like this mission from God that I'm on. Sometimes I wonder, am I doing the right thing here? Or am I doing something that's ever going to really take off and make a huge difference in the world? But all I have to do is do some research on the internet. Go look on Reddit. Go out on the street and talk to a few people. Or send an email to my loyal clients and customers and subscribers and do a little poll. And I'm reminded of the importance of this work and the need for it. My God, there is a need. There will be a need for this for the rest of my lifetime and beyond. So, this is my purpose, to help you, all of you. Okay, I got one more from Doc. Let's see what Doc's got here. Here's my question. How do you make a woman smile? What makes them happy? It sure as hell isn't being nice to them. Doc's got a theme going on. That doesn't work at all. One can be nice to all the other people in your life, but not the wife. I think we've covered this a little bit. You can be nice. You can be kind. You can be equanimous. What you do not want to be is supplicating or in any way approval seeking or in any kind of behavior that could be seen as approval seeking. You have to think of yourself as the king, the emperor, the leader of your own life in your own world. And she is your queen at your side along for the ride. But she is not the queen that you worship, and she is not your better half. Some of you who say that about your wives, stop saying that. Get that out of your psyche. She's not your better half. You're not better than her either. One won't go there. But you should definitely have a healthy conceit that she's lucky to have you because you're a catch. And if you don't believe that, you need to get yourself to a place where you do believe that. You must believe that. You must exude that in your energy. Because that's what's attractive. And that's what women want to be like. That's why they ignore their husbands and read romance novels about stoic, manly men, protagonists, who are tamed by the beautiful woman. The only thing that can bring him back from the edge is her beautiful femininity and her innocence and her beauty that just melt his heart. If you want to know how women think, go read a romance novel. Read a couple of them. They all follow that basic pattern. They want to tame the untamable. A woman wants to feel that she's the princess, she's the queen, that the unstoppable, indomitable man just couldn't resist. That's her fantasy. That's what a romance novel is, and I'm overgeneralizing, but that's what most fantasies are. She's just irresistible to the guy who no other woman can get through to. And if you are some nice guy, supplicating husband who is bending over backwards, doing everything you can to make her happy, you are the exact opposite of that. You are overly available and you are repulsive. She may not articulate that to you, but trust me, look at her responses. Her responses are telling you that. And you're confused. I'm doing everything to make her happy. Why doesn't she appreciate this? Why is she so bitchy? Because you're overly available and the energy is repulsive. So I'm telling you why. That's why. In case your wife can't articulate it to you, in case she's confused and doesn't know why, you're repulsing her with this overly accommodating nice guy shit. I've done it myself. Okay? Got a great comment from Adisanasi from Nigeria. He left a voice comment on last week's episode of the podcast. And he said, I'm an introvert. I'm unable to make friends. What I would like is to know how to stop being depressed and having anxiety and how to get over depression. Okay, this goes back to Brian's comment about feeling, about how he doesn't feel good about himself and what to do. Adisanasi, I'm going to say the same thing to you I said to Brian. I'm going to create a resource page. It's needed. That I'm going to give you guys some resources to feel good. I'm going to have an extensive product coming out on this in the future, in 2020. I just made that decision right now as I'm looking over these comments. We need a way for men to get the alpha spirit. Ooh, that might be what we'll call it. I shouldn't be saying this on the podcast because someone else might get the idea, but create that alpha spirit, that untamed lion of a man. How to create that. Sounds good, doesn't it? Adisanasi, I'm going to get a resource page up there and we're going to get you your wishes, your command. We're going to get you some audios to listen to. Sound is a wonderful way to get yourself healing. We just need to get you feeling good and get you understanding the importance of feeling good. Understand that that's more important than getting laid. It's more important than getting any sort of a situation. And believe me, you're looking for all the wrong things in women. Women have a place in our lives, but an important place in our lives, but it has to be the right thing. It has to be the right place in our life. She is the queen at your side when you are on your mission creating your empire. She is not your emotional tampon. She is not your equal partner. You start treating her like that, you're going to end up like all these other guys who want to know why my wife won't talk to me, why my wife is treating me like shit. You have to get past that brainwashing, that modern societal brainwashing. Don't ever, and you don't need to be like these red pill guys and these MGTOW guys who all hate women. They're angry, they're bitter, and they're like, all women are like this, and all women are like that, and all women are bitches, blah, 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 blah. Women are like a force of nature. They are what they are. It's like saying all thunderstorms are wet. Yes, they are. All rainstorms get you soaked. Yes, they do. It's just how it is. You have to understand the territory, know what you're dealing with, and know how you need to be to get the results that you want. And know how to, and there are good women and there are not so good women. You need to know how to pick the kind that you need. So I want to thank all of you guys for writing in because you're really giving me, that's why I ask for these comments. That's why I want to know about what's going on the ground. Because I'm starting to get really inspired just going through this. Thinking about what we need. One last comment. Oh, 2 more comments for tonight. Okay. Never mind. Sorry, guys. I've got 2 more. And our last comment is from a lady, which is going to be a very interesting one. This is from Randall. Okay. Randall is responding to one of my marketing emails. He says, thanks for sharing. Sounds cool. If there were women in my life, it was for a product, sexuality product for stamina. We have all kinds of stuff going on at the Alpha Shift. I watched some of the early minutes of your recent Facebook chat. Doc and I are similar. I talked about Doc on that one. Are similar ages, but he seems more angry than resourceful. Doc's angry, but Doc will be okay. All of this information seems really great. and I've been following Alex Allman for nearly 10 years, so I've probably seen this posted information. Great guy, great information. I just haven't been able to use any of his stuff on a woman. All of it seems like it would be useful for guys who have intimate connections with women. In my case, I don't have women around me. I don't make connections with women that lead to intimacy. And women tell me that I'm funny and quite possibly the most interesting guy they've ever met. That's cool, but I've spent the last 11 years since my wife died virtually alone getting myself together. The last sex with a woman for me was September 2012. That's not 11 years, dude. That's only like 8 years. And last attempt at a relationship was with a woman was spring 2019, hiking, tango dancing, cooking together, but never a kiss. Online dating has been remarkably fruitless for me, both in spring 2009 and autumn 2019. A few days ago, the Alpha Shift, that's me, recommended pulling away from women for a short period to get centered on important personal issues. So perhaps I've learned to excel in that area for years, for a decade. As in other years, I'll be spending Christmas Eve and day alone, working the kitchen on a meal for one, and then I'll finish listening to Michael Pollan's book Cooked on audio CD. Recently, I've taken up sewing to create an apron for cooking assistant LOL, and I'm planning to figure out how to make a couple of chef hats, maybe wear them in the new year. I've always loved women in hats. Randall, I think you've kind of made a bit of an identity of being that lone wolf guy. You know, you're definitely very aware of the lack of women in your life and therefore perpetuating it. You kind of got to, and going online and dating and, oh God, that's a mess. But if you're going to do that at all, you can't do it from a place of I lack. You have to do it from a place of having fun, and if you find someone great, if not, great. I personally don't recommend online dating. Dave Kruger's online dating strategy is go on your phone and delete all the apps. And then go out in the world and meet women that way. Or go do something interesting. Go get involved in some group activities and meet women through your interests and through your social circles. Those, by the way, are going to be your best connections. Online dating is shit. Think about it this way. Even if you make a connection, and say, yeah, okay, let's meet up. How awkward is that? You go sit down in a coffee shop or in a bar across from some woman you've never even met, have no chemistry with. I suppose it would be okay if you were like doing Tinder and like doing sexy, dirty talk and you were going to meet for a quick hookup, because then there's no question about what anybody's there for. And if that's what you want to do, great. That's really not my thing. So what I would suggest, Randall, like I've suggested to everyone else, I'm going to put up a resource page and you're going to go through damn everything and work on your mindset. Another thing I'm going to suggest too is start getting an interesting life. You're spending a lot of time alone, and I know how loneliness can be. And my heart does go out to you. And finding a woman to date isn't going to cure your loneliness, and it's not the right way to go. What you need to do is start building a group of friends. You need to start building an interesting life that a woman would want to come into. I would suggest going on, if you're starting from ground zero, go on meetup.com. Find some interesting meetups in your area and go. Maybe eventually start a meetup and start bringing people to you. Kind of be the center of the party. Get that going on. I would also suggest, getting a powerful mastermind of successful people. I'm a member of the Global Information Network. It's changed my life. The high-level members that I'm with, that I spend time with, I build them up, they build me up. The associations and the friendships and the business associates that I've developed in my life have literally changed my fortunes. They say your income is going to be the average of your 5 best friends in a few years. I would say not just your income, but your emotional state and your life. And the results you get will be the results of your 5 best friends. Do you want to be with a beautiful woman or not? Do you want to have a beautiful family? Do you want to have great friends and a great life? Look around at your 5 best friends. What are they doing? Because who you hang out with matters. So I'm going to have a resource page for things you can do for your mindset. I'm going to show you guys how you could potentially be members of the Global Information Network. And I'm going to suggest that you also look at meetup.com for just people in your local area to get together with Randall. So that's going to be my suggestion. Forget women, forget dating, forget the online dating apps and all that crap, and forget feeling sorry for yourself for being single. You're going to get an interesting life. And when you take the time and energy to do that, you're going to see all of your fortunes change. Our very last question for tonight comes from a young lady who was commenting on Facebook on episode 10, on the last episode of the podcast. And I think, what was episode 10? It was how to be the man women want and the world needs. And she made a funny comment about, well, men only want one thing. And I came back to her and I said, okay, well, I'm not going to insult you by denying it. But hopefully, when a man reaches a certain level of maturity, he knows what to look for in a woman who compliments him, a woman who goes along with him in his journey, a woman who supports him, as opposed to someone who's just hot and, looks good in a miniskirt. And she said, well, okay, but then what do women want? I'm like, why are you asking me? Aren't you supposed to tell me? But it was a good question. And I told her I would look at it in one of the future podcasts. So, to reiterate some of my comments to Fiaz, to Brian, to Randall, and to Doc, women look for a man they can respect. A man that can look up to, a man with a purpose and a direction. It's the thing they admire more than anything else. They look for a man who can, here's the picture I'll put in your mind, can be the rock, big rock sitting on the beach. And her emotions and her ups and downs and her whatever she's going through that day is like the waves of the ocean crashing down on the rock, just crashing down on the rocks all day long. And the rock is ever unmoving, ever solid. They look for safety, and they look for that security so that they can open up emotionally. That's the number one thing they want. And so I'm going to leave that with you to dwell upon. And I'm going to leave you with a promise that I'm going to put up a resource page on the Alpha Shift website, and I'm going to link to it in the show notes. And for those of you who are really working on your self-esteem and working on feeling good, you're going to have something you can start with immediately. So I'm going to be back here next week, the beginning of 2020 with Don, and we're going to do our year and our decade in review, and we're going to look to the future. Until then, I'm Dave Kruger. This is the Alpha Shift, and I will see you next week.